Have you ever lost your keys? Just raise your hand if you did. Great. So I'm not the only one, at least. And what happened when you were looking for them? Now, chances are pretty good that you were running around the room and saying things like, where did I put my keys? Okay, what was I wearing the last time I had them? Does that sound familiar? Great. Well, then it's official. You talk to yourself. And we all do this every day. And you will learn today why all humans perform self-talk and how you can unlock your power with your very own words. Now let me tell you a story. After I finished school, I went on to travel through Australia for 1 year. And as I like to do things a little differently at times, I bought a bicycle to get around. Great idea in such a big country, isn't it? Well, anyway, here I was, riding my bike, alone, sometimes days without meeting anyone. So I started talking to myself, especially words like, dude, why did you do that? Couldn't you just take the bus like anyone else? They came out of my mouth, aloud. So I started asking myself, am I weird? Is it okay to do that? Or am I maybe the only one talking to himself? Well, it certainly made me feel good, and there was no one to see or hear me doing it. So why shouldn't I go on? And that was the first time that I was aware of my self-talk. But it still felt weird. I certainly kept talking for the next 10 years, but I always hid it. I kept that as my dirty little secret, because I was not sure whether it's okay or not to do that. But that changed in 2018. I was on a mission in Afghanistan when a fellow Special Forces soldier just asked me all of a sudden, "Hey Art, do you train your mind as much as your muscle?" And my absolutely smart answer to him was, huh? It took me totally by surprise that I could actually train my mind in order to enhance my overall performance. Until then, I always thought that a strong mind simply happens because I am an athlete. But man, was I wrong. And from that point on, I was on fire. I got myself a coach. I experimented by myself. I read all the books I could find. And what I found out was that while it may not be totally sane to decide riding a bicycle through Australia, it is perfectly normal to talk to yourself. So wow, I was not only relieved, I was delighted. Because what I thought was a weird, maybe even an ill character trait of mine, turned out to not only be normal, but one of the most powerful mental training tools available to each one of us. And the best thing about that, it is for free. You already use it. So as of now, self-talk is mainly used by professional athletes to enhance their performance in sports. And that is because sports psychology is leading the research in that topic. And that research not only shows us that we all talk to ourselves, but that we can do it in different ways. You may choose to talk to yourself in an instructional way, which enhances technical aspects of your performance. Like, it helps you to focus better. Or you may choose to talk in a more motivational way, which enhances your strength and endurance efforts as it shifts your focus away from the pain that you experience. So if we get back to the key example, the moment that you realize your keys are gone, your emotions are running wild. You may even run around the room like a headless chicken saying, okay, damn, where are my keys? Where did I put them? Whom do I need to tell? Will I get problems with my boss if I really lost them? And your brain starts battling these emotions by letting yourself talk in an instructional way. For example, hey, relax. You got this. Just think about it. What were you wearing the last time you had your keys? Well, you see, they might be in the blue jacket. Just saying these words activates the language center of your brain, and that forces you to slow the thinking process. You're able to process the information better and to focus on the relevant information inside the chaos. But these words do not have to be allowed. Even just thoughts directed at yourself are considered as self-talk, and they work in quite the same way. Now that's a great opportunity to hide it, isn't it? But here's the funny side fact about self-talk in general. Most people think that it follows the same unofficial rule as buying M&Ms. Have you ever heard about that rule? No, a lot of nods. Well, probably not, because, to be honest, I made it up. But stick with me. The rule goes like that. If I go to the store and I buy M&Ms, or basically any other candy, and I eat that up before I get home, these calories simply disappear. No one saw me eating that, so they don't count, right? That never happened. Well, as much as we would all love this to be true, we all know it is not. And the same applies for your self-talk. Just because no one is there to see or hear you talking to yourself does not mean that these words do not have an impact. In fact, they have a huge impact. A 2020 study from Queen's University in Canada showed that a healthy human adult has 6,240 thoughts each day in their waking hours. Or put a little more simply, that is more than 6 thoughts each minute that you are awake. And each thought is an opportunity to influence your self-talk positively or negatively. So talking to yourself may be the most significant conversations you have each day. Make them count. And in order to do so, what we need is a structured approach. So I'm going to share with you now my secret 3-step approach to unlock your power with your very own words. And while that approach is quite simple, it is something that you are likely to remember when it matters the most, under stress, because that is exactly where you are going to practice it. But I promised that the approach itself is simple, and in fact, it's as simple as the ABC. And that is why I call it the ABC approach. So much about my creativity. Now, A stands for awareness. I want you to build awareness of the words that you use. Kind of listen to the rules after which you play your games at the moment. B represents build new rules to better fit your needs. And C, finally, stands for change the game in which you use those rules. Now, we've already discovered that we all talk to ourselves. And self-talk is therefore basically the language in which we do that. And like any other language, your self-talk comes in 2 ways. It is about self-talk and about self-listening. And in order to build awareness, what we need to do first is listen. And your sports, your workout, is one of the best opportunities to do that. Why? Well, because you've all been at that one point in a workout where you start asking yourself, why am I doing this to myself? Right? And it does not matter what your preferred sports is. If you do not have a good answer to that question, your performance will suffer. So, we've experienced that in sports, we experience those moments when doubt creeps inside our head. And we can repeat getting there over and over and over again by simply doing the same workout again. And that allows you to focus on what is actually happening inside the hustle muscle between your ears. What self-talk comes up? Which words do you use? And what effect do they have? And in order to make sense of that information later on, just grab a regular notebook like that and write it down. What did I do? Which words came up and what effect did they have? And just to be clear, it is not necessary to have a superhero on the cover, but it certainly helps me to have Batman kind of supervise what I'm doing, so it might help you as well. But anyway, as soon as you've established that base, with or without the help of a superhero, it is time for step B. Build new rules to better fit your needs. And you may do that by simply repeating the same workouts and exercises that you have experienced a negative effect of your self-talk in step A. But this time, start with asking yourself, what self-talk may typically arise today? And how do I want to respond this time? Which words may enable me to perform better? Now let me give you an example on that. Let's say your challenge today consists of doing 100 burpees for time. So in case you don't know, a burpee is a combination of a push-up and a straight jump. And doing 100 of these as fast as possible means you will suffer. Yes. And if you've learned in step A that what you typically say to yourself in that situation is, oh geez, I hate burpees. This is so hard. And that results in you lying on the floor and taking rests in between repetitions. Is that something that you would like to keep? Well, probably not. So maybe today you decide to respond in a more motivational way, saying to yourself, well, great effort. Keep going. Stick to your pace. Just one more repetition. And you may encounter that that results in you taking less or maybe even no rest in between repetitions. And therefore you have a better result at the end. Is that something that you would like to keep? Yeah, most likely. Now, while this is an example that works for me, what works for you is highly individual. Your self-talk is one size fits one. And in order to find your way, take your notebook again and simply write down the words that worked and erase those that didn't. By doing this repeatedly, what you will hold in your hands in a few weeks' time is your very own performance vocabulary. This notebook now holds critical information on how you tick under stress. And this is a major key to unlock your performance. And it's there for you to work with it whenever you need it. So finally, it's time for the last step, and that is C, to change the game. Because by now, what you have is a great skill set to push your performance in sports. But what if that does not have much relevance to you? What if you need performance in another area of life? Your research, your business, your career, or even in parenting? How do you transfer what's inside that performance vocabulary into other areas of your life? Well, guess what? That is the easiest part. Because if you've used steps A and B regularly in the stressful environment of sports, these are by now drilled inside your brain. It is how your system operates now. It is your new set of rules, and you will automatically apply it in other areas of your life. I have realized quickly that my self-talk skill set that I developed on the training floor helped me tremendously in all other areas of life. I just can't help it anymore but perform self-listening and adjust my self-talk to enhance my performance, may that be in my military career, in my business, in my relationships, or in one of the most challenging topics of life in parenting. And I've seen that happen to all of my athletes as well. As soon as they start building awareness of their self-talk in training, they immediately transfer that knowledge into all other areas of life. So next time that you realize you are talking to yourself, don't shy away from that. Embrace this powerful tool. Take ownership of your words and level up your life, because you've learned today that it is not only okay to talk to yourself, but that self-talk is the language of performance. Thank you.